Hey, Real Green Ninja here. Today we're going to talk about how tax works with installment plans. So let's begin. The first thing I do want to cover, though, is I want to cover how taxes work in the first place. In order for a customer to have a tax and have the service be taxable, the customer themselves have to have the tax code on their screen. Also, the service as well needs to have the tax code. So we'll go ahead and pull this up here, and I did kind of prepare things a little bit ahead of time. So you'll see here, I actually created a service called Taxable Service, and you'll see it has that Michigan tax on it. So if I perform the work on this customer's account, it's going to charge sales tax. Now, you'll see I also created another one called non-taxable service. It's exactly the same except for it does not have the sales tax. And this is important because I want to show you how the taxes work on the installment plans, and I needed to set up a situation. So you see this customer right here, they have two taxable services, both are at $100. If we go to the next customer on the account, we have the non-taxable service and the taxable service, again, both set to $100. And I also have a third example customer here where they have two services, one's a taxable, one's a non-taxable, and they're both set for $50. Other than that, everything else is exactly the same. They all have the tax code as well as they all have services that can charge sales tax on them. All right, so when we go to set up the installment plan, when you attach services to the installment plan, it's going to calculate the tax when we build out the payment plan based upon the tax that's on the service if we're using the calculated amount. So it's going to ask us, do you want to mark it as installment billing? Yes, we're going to mark it installment billing. Mark installment billing, yes. Okay, so let's say we're doing 10 payments here, and we're going to start it on January 1st, 2016. Okay. Again, if we do not use a monthly amount, we're going to be using the calculated because that's what we want to use. When we build out the plan, it's going to base the tax off of the total calculated of the services that can be charged tax. So let's go ahead and save that guy right there. Go to the next person. Again, remember, he has a non-tax, one is a tax. So if we go and create an installment plan for this customer, again, we're going to go ahead and add both those services here. There we go. And do 10 payments. And then we're going to do the first due date. There we go. Again, everything is exactly the same except for one of them is a non-taxable service. When I build out the plan, you'll see it's only 60 cents instead of the $1.20 that it was on the prior plan. Because again, it's calculating the tax based on the services that can be charged sales tax. If I go to the third example here, again, remember this guy was set for $50. And also another thing to be aware of too is when you attach a program or service to the installment plan, it's going to create the calculated based on everything going forward. So if you have like a 5-round program that has, the first round's already been put in production, you're adding the remaining 4 rounds to an installment plan to kind of break it up to make it easier because maybe someone's on a fixed income or something. The calculated for that plan on the installment plan is going to be $400 because there's only $400 services remaining. That first one was already put in production. It was already invoiced in a different way. So again, the calculated is going to be based off what is going forward. So if this was a $100 service, and it had a 50% off discount, the calculated would be $50 because, again, the customer would be paying the $50. So, again, let's go ahead and create an installment plan for this guy. There we go. Hit yes. Hit that. Hit yes. Okay. Now, again, to keep it like the other customers, we want to charge this customer $200. Now, I'm going to put in the manual here. So when I go in and build out my installment plan, there we go, and I bill out monthly, it's going to ask me, do I want to use the manual? Okay, if I say yes, it's going to build the plan out, but it's only going to charge the tax it would have charged on the one service. All right, so again, it's 30 cents because we're a $50 service, 6% tax, it gets 30 cents. All right. If you needed to charge a tax on $100, then either A, this amount would have to be $100, okay, or B, we have to come down here, figure out what the $100 tax would be, and then go through and then manually change it. So we'd put in like 120, all right, and then just go down the list and put the 120 in there. Now, once we have the installment plan built out, okay, and if this ever gets posted, that gets locked in place, and that's how much tax was charged. So unfortunately, we can't go back and change the tax rate once it's been posted. All right. So just to reiterate, it's going to build the tax based upon the serviceable or the services that can be taxed if we use the calculated. If we put in a manual, it's going to calculate the tax based off of what could be taxed on the services. All right. So again, keep that in mind. Now, if I were to come in here and say, you know what, I do need to charge a tax based upon, the amount of the charge, then if we can go into edit mode, we can hit calculate tax. But here's the hitch though. If you hit calculate tax button, it does not care if any of those services are taxable or not. All right. What it's going to do, and it'll even tell you, it's going to look at what tax codes the customer has and then base the tax off on that. So if I come over here and hit calculate tax, again, you'll see it recalculate to $1.20. If I go to the next client, go into edit mode, calculate tax, again, you'll see it did it off the $1.20. So if you're using a manual input, it's going to use the tax for whatever could be taxed in the taxable services. If you put in if you put a manual input and you want it to be based off the manual tax charge for the amount that's being charged, then you have to hit that calculate tax button. So, as I said before, it has caused a little confusion. We actually got a call last week, and someone had some questions about how this worked. And once we figured it out, I thought, hey, knock out a video so it might help you guys out. So, I hope that helps. And on this December 31st of 2015, I hope you guys have a wonderful New Year's Eve.